Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to round 9 of season 4 of our F125 VCarb driver career mode. Yes, we return this weekend out in Barcelona for the Spanish Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live a couple of days ago from Monaco, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. The Monaco Superprix, it's safe to say this time round was a little bit of a success inside of the game. Of course, we'd lost the World Championship lead coming out of Imola the weekend before. McLaren seemed to have got their act together. Lando Norris now really does seem to have some pace in his car. And of course, at the moment, we've got the 5th best car in the overall ranking. So we shouldn't be winning races every single weekend. You know, I am up against 110 AI. We are running strict track limits. But still, of course, the AI on this game aren't the fastest we've ever seen there. But victory in Monaco means we have taken 5 wins from the opening 8 Grand Prix now and have a 16-point buffer back up at the top of the table. Lewis Hamilton seems to have basically finished every single race in 3rd, it would appear so far this year. Hence why he's 3rd overall in the World Championship as well there. Just ahead of Verstappen and Charles Leclerc. Constructors-wise, McLaren still 19 clear of Ferrari. We are still 22 clear of Red Bull, though, a little bit further behind. So, yeah, our sights are firmly set on trying to beat, obviously, the sister team. But, yeah, of course, if you're new, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed to the channel. At the time of recording, we are mighty close to 16,000 subs here as well. I'd love to try and push closer and closer to 20k as we get towards the end of the year. But, yeah. Let's head out then back to Barcelona.
It's a Catalonian qualifying for you today. Welcome along to Spain, to Barcelona, and wherever you are in the world, do you feel the need? The need for speed?
Well, I've always argued that we can make up a bit of time on a Sunday afternoon relative to Saturday qualifying, but it definitely has been my weak point so far this season, so let's wait and see as to how we get on today. I feel like this is going to be a track that perhaps exposes a lot of this VCarb's weakness as Verstappen immediately slots up onto pole position. I mean, we've seen it IRL this year. Obviously, the season finale this weekend out in Abu Dhabi, that Verstappen, no matter how far back he is, you can never really discount him from a World Championship fight. Well, unless he is mathematically out of it. He's almost losing grip of the wheel through turn 3 there. That long flowing right-hander up towards the top of the circuit. But yeah, obviously that win in Monaco, really happy with that. Really happy that obviously we could chalk up another one this season. But they will become harder and harder to come by, simply because, you know, luck will run out at some point over the course of the season as well. But as long as we can remain consistent, hopefully we can try and keep ourselves in the conversation right until the very end of the year. P19. Yep, hopefully we're not going to remain P19 once I've got a lap time on the board there as well. A little bit hesitant. The V-car really does seem to struggle to try and get the nose tipped in ready for Sector 3, so really got to work on that. Oh, on our second run. Keep it out the wall. Oh, I just barely grazed it there. How much fuel have I got? I haven't got enough to go for another run. Apparently qualifying now is going to be one shot for me. I'm going to make sure I finish the lap just so we've got a delta to chase. But now the pressure is on, as Lando Norris, despite going through yellow flags, did end up going purple. Well, clearly this VCarb then does have pace, because Isaac Hadjar is provisionally 4th on the grid at the moment, only slower than Verstappen and both of those McLaren cars, so a brilliant effort by our teammate. And let's wait and see as to what we can do then as we get ready to start our basically one and only competitive lap time of the session then. I sometimes like to put myself under pressure, it would appear. But let's see what we can do when the pressure continues to mount there. Use a bit of battery on the run to the line. Make sure, obviously, we start the lap with as much speed as we can. Braking about 75 metres out. They're ready for turn 1. Not quite meeting that first apex, but attacking the curb quite nicely through turn 2. And that'll allow us to smooth out the radius of turn 3 as well there. If we can be a few tenths up halfway around the lap, I'll be very happy. Because up until we made that mistake, the lap had felt pretty well hooked up. Battery management here over the course of a lap, though, that can be very difficult to come by as well. Just again, you don't have to meet the apex through too many corners here, but there are definitely some that you want to make sure you do. And there's definitely other corners where you don't want to do that. Big mistake as we make our way up through Cancer, and suddenly now, from 3 tenths up, we're going to be 4 tenths down here. Verstappen lowering the benchmark up at the top of the order. But we've just got to try and make sure that we get a lap time on the board now. And hope that we will not find ourselves right at the rear of the field. A couple of major errors in qualifying. And once again, the pressure seems to be getting to us on a Saturday afternoon. Through the final corner, drain any battery we've got left. Where is it going to put us? P18. Good lord, that is bad. Well, there we go. A brilliant pole lap by Max Verstappen there. Once again, fastest by 3 tenths of a second ahead of those McLaren cars. Unfortunate for Hadjar, he got the first lap in, but I think everybody else had a little bit of pace left on the table. But P7, he cannot complain about that one. Lance Stroll, he's starting up inside the top 10 after failing to score a point so far this year. But had we found those 7 tenths of a second, we could have been between the Aston Martins here. So definitely a lot of speed in the car if we get it hooked up. Honestly, to still go quicker than Ocon and Colapinto, despite not really getting a clean lap in, I think we should be quite happy.
Welcome along, everyone, to sunny Spain, specifically to the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. So many great moments in Formula One history have been written at this very track over the years, including Michael Schumacher's first win for Ferrari back in '96. That win was in the rain. We might have better weather here today, but we're just as overjoyed to be at the Spanish Grand Prix. It's an updated track at Catalunya, and we welcome the removal of the chicane in the final sector, shortening lap times and reducing the total running to 2.9 miles and 14 turns. This was actually the original setup for the track, but it hasn't been used since 2007. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And Oscar Piastri completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Leclerc, George Russell, and Hamilton, Hadjar, Fernando Alonso, Stroll, and Carlos Sainz, Tsunoda, Antonelli, Alex Albon, and Behrman, Gasly, Bortoletto, Nico Hülkenberg, and Mr. Monaco. Ocon and Franco Colapinto rounds off the grid. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Well, last weekend then, of course, we won the Monaco Grand Prix from the back of the field. Shanghai even, we started, I think, P19 and won that Grand Prix as well. Yes, there was some wet weather and some safety cars and red flags and a lot of intervention. I don't think that's going to happen today, though. We're going to need a huge, huge miracle this afternoon. So my plan is pretty simple. Start on the hards, take them as far as we can, and then see if we can try and go mediums to the end of the GP. Normally, in Season 1 of the career mode, the 1 and the 2 stop are pretty close here. So I just think we need to try and throw something at it and see if we can make a plan of action work. Just keep finding I'm pushing the limits too much in qualifying. 5 red lights are on, though. And it's lights out, and away we go then. And, well, understandably, we are not going to get a good start against everybody on the soft compound tyre, the opposite of what we saw out in Monte Carlo last weekend. So let's just try and keep things clean and tidy in towards turn 1 there. Don't want to go for anything too risky. But, of course, if Colapinto's going to sit there at the back of the pack, then hopefully we're going to try and find a way around him. Or through turn 2 and turn 3 there as well. Look at that, Hülkenberg getting a bit swipey with Esteban Ocon through those first couple of corners, so not too sure whether he was just unsighted there or maybe not a fan of the Frenchman, but luckily they got away without any damage there. As can we have a look around the outside there, 3 wide down the hill, definitely not going to find the grip out there, and it might leave us vulnerable to Colapinto on this opening lap. As always, my setup for this circuit is on Matt212 Racing. There's a link down in the description below. I am hopefully now going through and updating some of our early setups as well from F1 25, as we've slowly seen how the meta's shifted. But yeah, you want a really, really kind of biased offside tyre pressure around here, so that should be accounted for inside the setup as well, though. But after Verstappen took pole yesterday, I think it's Oscar Piastri that leads the way at the end of lap 1 there. Yes, it is. So good start by the Australian. Haven't seen much of him this year, but a win today could really help him out. already then starting to see some of the AI stringing out a little bit, but I am really going to try and be patient early on in this race. Don't want to feel like I'm attacking too much out of the tyres, because we really can open up a strategy for ourselves later on. To the outside, though, of Esteban Ocon, back in towards turn 1. There we go. Moving on up then, back into where we started, P18. But yeah, I mean, we should be a bit quicker than a lot of these guys towards the back of the pack. We saw Hajar yesterday able to kind of keep up with a lot of our front runners. So, yeah, the V-Carb is making good progress in terms of performance. Already then coming to the end of lap 5. I mean, it's still so difficult to look after the tyres around this circuit. We're averaging 4% a lap at the moment on the rubber. So even then, these tyres would only go to about lap 15 before the tyre wear warning light would flash up. I want to get them ideally to 19 if I possibly can, but that will put us way over 70% wear. But yeah, I think definitely for us today, the one stop has got to be possible. As Ollie Behrman getting a little bit slip-slidey just up in front. I don't know how many of the AI will be two-stopping. It seems like a good, strong majority of them, because I don't believe they can one-stop from a set, well, of the soft compound tyres there, as
you made that look easy. Nice work. That's why I love working with you. Smashed.
Hulkenberg there tried to cover me off just as we got a little bit loose and lively on the curb, but down the inside through Kampsa then, we have made the overtake happen. And again, now we're starting to slowly see a shift in momentum. But look up at the front of the order. Verstappen's gone. The McLarens have got away from everybody else. So I think we know what our podium's going to look like. Surely we're starting to see a bit of a shift in performance then. Surely the soft compound tyre will be screaming already at the AI in front. As 250 miles an hour. It is a very long run in towards turn 1 now inside of this game. And of course, where you carry a lot of speed off of that final turn as well, you really can carry a lot of momentum back in towards that first turn, but not enough momentum that time round to really have a look for anything here. As Lance Stroll, decent qualifying session yesterday, it seems to be dropping down the order come race day Sunday. It's around the outside of Bortoletto, similar to what we tried to do against Hulkenberg, and instead of gaining a spot, we're going to lose one to the aforementioned German back down the inside at the very next turn. Come on, again, just be patient with it. The race has got to come to us a bit later on. Still then, nobody diving into the pit lane by the time we get to the end of lap 9. But even now, we're starting to feel the heat from those tyres as well. Oh, there you go, Alonso, into the pits as well as Esteban Ocon a little bit further behind. So Alpine's former lineup both diving in. But neither of the Alpine cars in just yet. There is a bit of a power move to the inside of Bortoletto. Sure, he wasn't too happy with that one. We did kind of park it on the apex, but an overtake's an overtake. Can we have a look, just sneak to the inside of Pierre Gasly? Yes, we can. Beautiful. Sometimes you just got to make life a little bit awkward for the AI, but Gasly there, good clean racing around a part of the track you don't often see battles, as there you go, everybody in, including our teammate Isaac Hajar there. So we are going to be into the points, I believe. Yes, we will. Moving up then into 9th spot, as it's still most of the AI on a set of the soft compound tyre. Sonoda, though, is on medium, so he's trying to throw a bit of caution to the wind. But again, I still don't know if he's going to 1 or 2 stop. We've got to make the 1 stop happen here, with how much of a gap we're going to have over the likes of Hajar and everybody else. But it is not going to be easy. There you go, a handful more then into the pit lane, so there does seem to be a little bit of variety in what the AI are attempting to do here. Sykes then, so actually I think everybody else then is on the medium tyre, so I think everybody that hasn't pit yet is trying to make a 1 stop happen. So Fernando Alonso is going to be leading the 2-stop charge. That's going to be fascinating to see how that pans out by the end of the afternoon. I would assume we're going to start seeing medium compound runners into the pit lane pretty soon. Neither McLaren nor Max Verstappen, though, into the pit lane, but we have been taking good time out of Yuki Tsunoda in these last few laps then, so clearly, yeah, the medium tyre actually hanging on pretty well here, as there you go, Charles Leclerc and Yuki both diving into the pit lane. Like I said, though, we want to take the pain now, deal with this harder compound for as long as we can, and then move over to the medium to the end. Tyre wear warning light is about to flash up, but like I said, I think if we can go to the end of 19, that would be honestly pretty good. Alonso and Russell are taking good time out of us, but effectively, of course, towards the end, we're going to be on a pretty similar strategy. There we go then. Looks like Lando Norris now is going to take the lead of the Grand Prix as Verstappen, Hamilton and Lando Norris all diving into the pit lane. Second, third and fourth all in the World Championship in one go. But look at that, I mean, Verstappen absolutely in control today. Has come out still ahead of us in this race. Not often so far this year has the Dutchman got the better of us. But today is most likely going to be one of those days, unless someone fancies bringing out a red flag now. As Strogan on one Red Bull, looks like the other one is immediately blown up. As Yuki Tsunoda then pulling over to the side of the race circuit. God, a safety car now would work out fantastically. Allow us to take a nice cheap pit stop.
We'll need to keep an eye on their times.
But I don't think we're going to get a safety car, sadly, today. At least not now. There we go. Lando Norris then last car into the pit lane. Sorry, so it was Piastri that dived in just one lap ago. As there is Tsunoda's stricken car then. I mean, that's right on pit lane exit. I'm surprised that hasn't been at least a VSC just to try and move it out of the way. But, yeah, don't know how many races we haven't led at any stage so far this year. I know Imola we definitely didn't. Seems like the European leg of this campaign is going to be brutal for us. Well, Fernando Alonso then, he'll be quite happy running up in the podium places. He'll be praying for a red flag right now. That could really open up his race strategy, because it won't be long before he's diving back into the pit lane. So we are effectively racing him on the road at the moment. We've both effectively got one more pit stop to go, which we are going to take right now.
And we're going to be in trouble unless you either nurse them or come in for a fresh set.
I'm not quite sure what that passive-aggressive tone is there, Mark, but I'm into the pit lane, mate, so pipe down. Don't talk to me when I'm trying to slow down on my marks there, as Russell's going to move through. Hopefully we're going to come out in some clear air, but not too far away there. Yeah, that front left looked destroyed. As back out onto the circuit then, Ferrari 13th and 14th at the moment. So they'll be hoping their strategy pans back out.
See these tyres through to the end now.
As we are going to re-emerge then all the way down in P18, right behind the Bortoleto and Esteban Ocon. But Franco Colapinto, despite doing a double soft strategy, is still in last. Well, this time round, we really cannot afford to be patient. We've got to try and move away around these guys, because I also don't want to have to deal with the dirty air for any longer than I have to. Down the inside wall of Bortoleto, as I wasn't expecting Ocon to be so early on the brakes there. But again, just goes to show how bad the tyre wear can be, how tough tyre management is around this circuit, trying to keep the car between track limits. I have been very happy with the fact we haven't picked up a penalty so far this year, despite being on strict. But as Ocon then immediately is going to try and defend out of the final corner, we're going to gain the spot back on, I believe that's Lance Stroll. So yeah, Alonso starting to drop back a bit more. There's definitely an opportunity to get like 6th or 7th place in this race. I think, yeah, Verstappen, the Ferraris and McLarens are a bit too quick. But anyone behind that is game on. Away we go to the inside then of Pierre Gasly. A bit more of an aggressive dive bomb that time round. But again, I just don't want to have to face the dirty air through these final complex of corners. As there you go, Alonso in, Russell in, Hadjar in, everybody now diving back in. So this is going to give us a good idea of what we're fighting for towards the end of the afternoon. Still a few more cars staying out there, one extra lap, but Hadjar in then. So we're going to be up into P9 then, and we're going to have a decent, actually we're going to have a very good gap over George Russell. So obviously we are going to have to manage towards the end, but by taking a lot of the pain earlier on in the race, hopefully the tyre wear isn't going to be that bad. 7 seconds clear of George with 11 laps to go.
Around us now, so let's use it and make this next lap a quick one. Let's go.
Yep, okay. Seems like Mark's being friendly again with me. But yeah, we can definitely just try and manage this towards the end of the race. And honestly, from the back of the field, in a car that I haven't felt confident in all weekend, this would be a huge boost. So there we go, everybody else then into the pit lane at the end of lap 22. So yeah, it really has been interesting kind of seeing the split between the two strategies today. Back up though into 6th spot, so yeah, I think Mercedes are going to be a big threat towards the end of the afternoon, but do I push on and try and get to Lewis, or do I just focus on maintaining the gap to the cars behind? Well, late on then in the Grand Prix, seems like Charles Leclerc now really beginning to struggle, as Hamilton and I have both reeled in the Monegasque man. Lewis Hamilton to the outside then of his teammate back in towards turn 1. Or as Leclerc tries to keep it there, but now 3 Italian cars fighting just outside of the podium places. I was already going to be pretty happy with P6, but if we could get P4 here, I would certainly not complain. Side by side, as we make our way to the top of the circuit. And look at that! I've had both Ferraris in one go, as Hamilton and Leclerc too busy squabbling with each other. That was reminiscent, I think it was Rubens Barrichello, wasn't it, all those years ago, at this very venue. I believe jumped Michael Schumacher, and I want to say it was Juan Pablo Montoya, if I'm not mistaken, but let's immediately then try and get those Ferraris out of the DRS range. It gives me a couple of rear gunners against George Russell, who still looks very fast towards the end of the race, but what an opportunistic move. We come towards the start of lap 30 then. Looks like Russell now has started to join the party here, so I'm going to have to go with the Singapore strat of try to keep Hamilton and Leclerc in my DRS, and hope that by doing that, Russell won't be able to try and find a way around either of them, as Hamilton are now beginning just to drop back a little bit, and again, dealing with the pain earlier on in the race is giving us a huge, huge helping hand as Verstappen span! Verstappen from the lead of the Grand Prix under no pressure at all. I assume he'll be able to get back on the road without too many concerns there. And yes, he will, but Max Verstappen with just a couple of laps remaining, maybe a momentary lapse of concentration. Luckily, it's going to make no difference for him as Russell seems to have found a way around Leclerc. So my plan to keep all these guys in DRS might not work. Oh, we've got more yellows. We've got more yellows. One of the McLarens now. Maybe with issues. Is it Piastri? Is it Norris? I think it's Lando Norris. I was literally just thinking to myself how it wouldn't be that bad if we already lost a handful of points to Norris, but 2 laps from the checkered flag and 1 McLaren and 1 Red Bull now out of this Grand Prix there. Lando Norris will be devastated with that one, and on a day where once again it looked like he'd claw back some points in the World Championship, suddenly from the back of the field, we are up into the podium places. I don't believe we've finished on the podium yet this year. That hasn't been a win. But Russell and Hamilton, we've got a 3-way British battle towards the end of the Grand Prix there as we will swing defensive from Lewis down in towards turn 1. Oh, a little bit too heavy on the brake. They're gathering up nice and tidily through turn 2 and turn 3, but George Russell now has got to be waiting in the wings, sensing an opportunity as we will try and take the tidy line, use a little bit of battery, but again, just about able to defend for now. A tyre wear warning light has flashed up yet again then, and honestly, this race, if we can hang on for a podium here, will feel more rewarding than any of the wins we've had so far this season. We have been desperately trying to hang on to the car. We played it patient early on. We played the long game today, and hopefully it is going to pay bigger dividends than I ever quite imagined it would. Here comes Hamilton though, one final time on the run back down in towards turn 1. He's gaining, but it will not be enough that time round, and we didn't even have to defend in towards that first corner. Surely he's going to struggle to find an opportunity anywhere else around this lap, but the tyre wear is really ramping up here on this last lap as well. Only the big teams, only the best cars are able to make the one-stop work today. And me. Mercedes couldn't make it happen. Aston Martin couldn't make it happen. Only really Red Bull, McLaren, and Ferrari here. But it might not pay off for us just yet, as through the final couple of corners, Max Verstappen even is going to claim victory number 2 for him so far this year, and will start to reel in some of that World Championship buffer with a dominant drive. Oscar Piastri, he will come through for P2 come the checkered flag there, as Russell, again I think, tried to have a look for a run on Lewis Hamilton. Keep it clean, keep it tidy through these final couple of corners. There is barely anything left on the rubber. From 18th on the grid, somehow it is going to be P3 come the checkered flag. Easily my best drive of the year.
Yes, and that's a podium. Excellent drive. The whole team have worked especially hard this weekend, and that, my friend, is a fantastic reward. Well done.
And in the end, there was no Verstappen. Max Verstappen, he takes victory.
There was never a moment of doubt today. You could tell that they completely had it under control, and that is a sign of greatness.
From lights out to the checkered flag, this is what they're racing for. It's points and a trip to the podium. And for those that have missed the Dutch national anthem, fear not. It's back again because Max Verstappen is back on the top step.
Well, there we are then. Max Verstappen, he will be very, very happy. 13 seconds clear come the checkered flag, despite the spin late on in the day. Barcelona, it's one of those venues where Verstappen can absolutely dominate. But yeah, your top two on the grid, your top two come the checkered flag. 18th to 3rd, though. Like I said, that is arguably my best drive, I think, so far this season. All things considered, managing the tyres and everything else there. We beat out Hamilton and George Russell. Charles Leclerc really struggled towards the end, but he was still ahead of Alonso, Sainz, Hadjar, getting a good couple of points on the board, just ahead of Andrea, Kimi and Antonelli there. Stroll, once again, will narrowly miss out, but he should jump the other two on countback, as Norris and Tsunoda, the only two drivers that failed to see the checkered flag. What does that do, though, as we take a look at our World Championship? Well, it means now we have a 31-point lead again over Norris at the top of the table, but Verstappen just 46 points back. He is building some momentum at this stage of the campaign. Hamilton still in 4th ahead of Leclerc. Piastri there, now 4 points back behind the Monegasque man, as Isaac Hadjar as well gets ahead of Gasly and Carlos Sainz. P11, honestly, for him, I don't think would be too bad going come the end of the year there. Stroll now back ahead of Bortoleto on countback, but it's still just those two and Colapinto yet to score. Constructors-wise, McLaren down to just 17 clear of Ferrari, though, so that DNF for Norris really didn't help them. And we have just a 14-point lead over Red Bull as well. How long can we try and keep ourselves ahead of the big team? Only time will tell. Thank you all so much for watching, though. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourselves subscribed, and we'll be back very soon when Formula 1 returns ready for the, I believe it's the Canadian Grand Prix.